my creatives, and welcome to another video. So today I'm here to share a junk journal tutorial for beginners. I'm going to create this into a very cool gift idea that you can use to give to someone else. And today I'm using the newest release by VectoriaDesigns, the Vintage Library Crafting Printables kit. So this kit comes with beautiful papers and beautiful vintage themed embellishments, and this is in a library theme, so that's very cool. And I'm just jumping right in with creating the junk journal. So what I did for this junk journal, I printed my papers double-sided, and I am going to create a one insert kind of journal. So it's very beginner friendly, and these journal pages are already to size. So I cut my paper to 9.5 inches by 7/3 of an inch to create my cover. So I just used some white cardstock. So my journal pages will fit in, as you can see, but I do have a little bit of a wiggle room, like 1/8 of an inch around the sides to make sure that the paper will not stick out if I'm going to put it in. As you can see, I printed all the pages of the kit, and I did that double-sided for this time, which was very cool. So I really wanted to use all the papers that were included in this kit. Of course, I didn't use everything because they also have these beautiful full pattern paper sheets, but I did want to use all the beautiful journal kind of pages in this kit. And now I just went through my stash and I found some papers that I thought would look pretty in this journal, so I'm keeping in mind what the color scheme is of this beautiful kit. And I also found 2 magazine images from Flow magazine, and I'm making sure that I'm folding them in a way that the part that I want to be in the journal will be in the journal. So as you see, most of these papers are too big, and I'm using the papers from the kit as a reference, and some of them are smaller. Smaller is always good, but you cannot go bigger, of course. So you see me flipping through them, and I'm counting my pages. I believe this journal has about 25 pages in it, which makes 50, I'm not quite sure. But I'm going to cut all of my papers to size because I want to have one paper of the kit and one just other various types of papers. I'm just going to cut all of them to size, and I'm going to create this into a pocket. So I made sure to find the size that I needed and make a scoring line and just fold it up, and that way you will have a built-in pocket. I'm also going to use this tracing paper, which I am currently very much into adding into my journals. So I will be looking forward to seeing what the recipient will do with this journal, because I am creating this journal for a dear friend who is going through a rough time, and I thought, well, she could use a little pick-me-up. So I haven't sent it out yet because I waited, but I hope that she will love it. I will hear that soon, I think, when I send it out. But yeah, so I picked out some pages. I also picked out this map page on purpose, and I have this onion skin paper that was sent to me by one of you guys that I'm using, because I thought the blue would complement certain parts of the paper that was in the kit. I also just have some graph paper and some lined paper because I like to have journals where there is also space for me to journal in. So I love the pretty images and the pretty pattern papers, but I am a very big journaler, so I always like to include pages that are pretty blank so I can journal. Now you see me score some of these lines because in the papers, because I'm going to create flaps and I'm going to fold them in, but later on I will make a mistake, and well, it's not bad if you make any mistakes. With this, I'm making sure that I keep the part of the image that I want and to bind it into my journal, and I'm going to lay out all of my papers, and I'm going to assemble my signature. So here you see I'm going to create all these folds, but I've realized once I put all my papers into each other that the folds had to be bigger, because of course the paper also has a thickness, and if you stack that up, it means that the papers will stick out a little bit. So I forgot to keep that in mind, which no problem at all, because I just refolded my papers and my pages. So now I'm moving forward to creating the actual inside of this journal, and this is something that is more about feeling, how you feel that it is aesthetically pleasing to you. There's no really rhyme or reason except for me that I wanted to make sure to have one page of the kit and one page with just other papers to switch it up a little bit. I like to do that to make it a little bit more personal, a little bit more variation into my journals. Also, I have a lot of paper, so I always like to take the opportunity to use some of that up. But this is just a very intuitive process, making sure that I do not have the same type of papers next to each other or the same colors. And now I'm put everything inside. I'm going to flip through my journal and I'm going to see how that looks. And you will see that I'm going to change up some of these papers because I didn't really like how they looked together. I preferred this one in the beginning, and I also really enjoyed putting in the magazine pages. It just gave another look. And the dictionary paper, very much enjoyed this. So I'm also going to switch that last page around, so the tea-dyed paper will go on another place. Now I'm checking if it will fit into my cover, and like I said, if you stack up papers, the papers also have a thickness. So if you cut everything to the same size, you still need to cut off the excess. Unless you make your cover bigger, then you don't have to do that, of course. But it's something that I do, even though that I'm not great at cutting. But this is where I realized that I had to fold in certain flaps a little bit more to make sure that I would not cut them off. And yeah, well, there's an extra fold in the page, but I don't really mind that. I mean, it's a vintage style journal and it is handmade. I think the recipient will still love the selection of papers that I chose. At least I hope so. So here I am going to flip around again and seeing things that I'm like, no, I just want to have it a little bit different. And in essence, this is the journal. So this will be a single signature journal. And it's a very, very easy and quick journal to make. You can, of course, make them as elaborate or as simple as that you want. I usually make pretty simple journals because I do not like to tell how people should use their journals. I do not like to include pockets and stuff because I also don't really like that. I would like to do that for myself. A pocket every once in a while is okay, but I don't want all the pages pre-planned for me, if that makes any sense. Because sometimes I use a journal for my personal journaling and then I want to use it chronologically. But if I do it for my personal junk journaling, then I don't really mind where I'm going to play in. But if I use it for my personal journaling, I do want to have enough writing space and not pockets and stuff that decide what I have to do, if that makes any sense. So here I am again with my cover, figuring out if everything will fit. And now I'm going to take some binder clips to put everything together. This will make sure that my pages will stay together the way I wanted them to. So now I'm going to decorate my cover, and I have this beautiful piece of paper with the library cards. It's my absolute favorite piece of paper, so of course I had to use that for the cover. And now I'm figuring out what I want to use on the inside. So I use the first page of the signature as a reference because I want to complement that one, and that is why I chose that other paper for the inside. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on my cover, and I'm going to stick that in the middle of this paper. So there's no need for any cutting, just make sure that you put it in the middle of this paper because it will exactly fit into the pattern. You do not have to worry about that. And I am going to make sure that everything is stuck down properly. Now I put my paper down a little bit crooked, but you know, once you're done, you will not notice it. So it is okay. I'm going to cut off these corners to make sure that I will not bulk up, but I don't cut the corners until the very corner of the cardstock, if that makes any sense. I just leave a little bit of room there, so if I fold it up, the corners are also nicely tucked into with the pattern paper. I'm folding them in to create a nice, how do I say that? A nice cover so you don't see any of the white cardstock. And like I said, there was no need for me to cut off these white excess pieces because I'm going to use that other piece of pattern paper as my inside paper. So for that, of course, I have to cut that to size. And what I do with this paper is that I cut it to size, and I'm making sure that I have 1/8 of an inch around all sides free, so you can see a little bit of the outside paper on the inside. And with that, I think that is 9/1/4 of an inch by 7/1/4 of an inch. And now I'm going to glue that on the inside. And that is pretty much everything you're going to do to the cover right now. Your cover is complete. Will be a soft cover journal. Of course, I will do some extra things later on in the video, but for now you can let this dry under something heavy so it doesn't curl up. And I recommend that you let this dry for about 24 hours to make sure that you will not rip the paper. Now I'm going to refold my cover, and as you saw, I'm going to do that a little bit carefully because I don't want to break the paper. So I take my time to refold it, and now my cover is ready to be sewn in. Before we do that, I am going to align my papers, and I'm going to cut off the excess of the signature. Well, with this, which is really funny, my perfectionism got a little bit to me because I thought that it wasn't perfectly flush enough stuck into each other, and I left that in for you so you can see that I also struggle. Even though I do create multiple journals, or it looks very easy for me to do so. I do find it very easy to create journals, but I also sometimes doubt or redo things because I feel like it's not good enough. And in the end, I'm not a very good cutter, so I will cut my papers, and well, I don't know, there's something wrong with my knives, I think, because I cut that all messy. But you know what? It's a junk journal and it has a vintagey look. And I also have had this problem with my personal journal. And in the end, I'm using my journal now. I don't even see it anymore because I'm putting so much stuff on my pages. I don't even see it anymore that I didn't cut properly. But what happened is, and I will share that later on, is that I cut off one of the flaps that I made before. Moving on to sewing them in, I always take 2.5 times the height of the journal as my thread for some sewing in. And when I sew my signatures in, I always find the middle point of my signature, and then 1 inch from the top and 1 inch from the bottom. That's a pretty standard size that I use. And I'm going to do the same with the cover, but keep in mind that your cover is a little bit bigger. So the middle point will be in a little bit of a different spot. So move that around a little bit and check if your cover will be nicely tucked into your, or your signature will be nicely tucked into your cover. I have lots of experience with this, so I can eyeball this, but if you are not sure about it, use your cover or use your signature as a template. So now I'm poking my holes, and this is pretty much it. And you have a very, very fun and quick journal. I'm going to sew it in, and with the sewing I start from the middle on the inside. I go all the way to the top and go in, and I make sure I have a tassel out in the middle, all the way down to the bottom hole. And then I go back through the middle hole, making sure that I have my thread on 2 sides of the thread that is already there sewn in, so I can tie a nice knot. Pull it tight but not too tight, because you do not want to break your thread or your paper. So tight but not too tight, and just tie some knots and cut off the excess thread, and then you have your junk journal. It's all complete. Now you can do whatever you want with it. So you can keep it like this, but because I'm going to give it away as a gift, I wanted to do something a little bit extra. I'm going to add some ribbon as a closure, and at first I thought I'm going to put it under the binding, but then I remembered I had my Crop-a-dile, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun if I would do a different type of closure for this journal? So I found this other ribbon in my stash, and I'm going to create 2 holes in my cover with my Crop-a-dile, and they are 1 centimeter from the side, I think 1/2 inch, and in the center point. and I'm going to cut this hole and I'm going to put eyelets in them. So you can still make this journal if you do not have this tool. You do not have to use the same closure as I did. You can also use a perforator or anything, a hole punch. For this you do not need the eyelets, you can do whatever you want. But I thought since I have this, I'm going to use it. And it's a very, very easy tool. I'm very much enjoying the tool. So yeah, that is what I did. And here I figured out that I cut off that flap. And as you can see, it is crooked and raggedy. And I didn't do a good job with cutting, but I'm like, you know, it's okay. I think I need to change my blades. Although I did change my blades. I don't know, maybe something is wrong or I am just not as good at cutting anymore. So I decided to also take off the last flap and I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to pull the thread or the ribbon through the eyelet, and this will be my first part of my closure. And I'm going to repeat that for the back cover so that you have two pieces of ribbon that are the same length. And then you can close it very easily with just tying a knot between these two. Yeah, very much like that. It's a closure I have not used before, so I very much enjoyed this. It also allows for the journal to grow a lot if that would happen, because the closure is very adjustable. Now I'm going to create a collage on the cover because of course I have to decorate this beautiful journal, and this kit also comes with embellishment sheets. I cut that up before I started filming off camera, so I had easy access to all of these embellishments, but all of them come with the kit. VectoriaDesigns also has a free gift for you with envelopes, so please check that out in the link down below in the description box. Down below in the description box is also the link to the kit you can get, and everything will be linked up for you, and the free gift, you can get all of it. So yeah, once I figured out what I wanted to do, I wanted to put a message on there like treasure you always, because I'm very grateful to have this friend. And I decided to add some distress oxide to really make it a little bit more vintage. And I also decided to do that on the cover. So I'm going to do that on the inside and on the outside of the cover. And I also did that on all the embellishments to, well, give it a little bit of a finishing look. I didn't really like the white edges of the paper from the embellishments. And once I used the distress oxide, the cover needed a little bit. I'm also going to put the distress oxide on the sides of this paper, so when the journal is closed you will see this brown paper, but I didn't want to put that on each paper separately, so this is a very good trick to get that vintagey look on the outside of your journal, but in a very, very easy way. And it was really, really fun. So some pages have a little bit more ink than others, but I think that gives it a more natural look. So now going back to my collage, of course I also picked out some washi tapes, and before you go anywhere, I'm also going to create something extra for this gift later on in the video in a very, very easy way that everyone can do. I'm going to create a loaded pocket with some junk journal goodies, and I'm going to show you how you can do that, so stay tuned for that. But first of all, I'm going to create some collages with my washi tapes, because as you know, I really, really love my washi tapes. And I'm going to stick down all these beautiful pieces that I already laid down before. So I didn't put them back because, well, I had in mind how I wanted to put them. And I also grabbed some extra pieces later on because I missed something and I wanted to add something else. But this is how it started, and I just glue down my pieces with my Nuvo Deluxe glue and my message, treasure you always. And in that big white space, or not, well, it's not white, but in that big open space, I'm going to stick down the word journal, but I want to put the recipient's name above that in letter stickers. But of course I did not do that for this video, because this video will go online earlier than the recipient would have received my journal. So just so you know that in that white space there will be a name of the person that I'm going to send this to. So I also found some extra pieces that I wanted to add, And after that, my journal is going to be finished, and I will move on to the creating the pocket, because as I said, I don't like to put things inside the journal, but I do want to gift my friend some supplies to work with that I think she would enjoy and that she could use in this journal. So I kept in mind, of course, while picking my supplies, the person, but also what I am already sending her. So that is what we are going to do now. And I am going to check first. Oh no, I forgot something. I'm also going to put this pocket on the inside of the journal because I do like to have pockets there. So you can put in a card or something. Maybe I will put my letter in there. I'm not quite sure yet. So that my letter will be in the first pocket of the journal. Because of course I also want to write a letter to this person. But I love this pocket that was part of the kit, and I thought it would complement the first page of this journal so much, and that is why I wanted to add that as well. And I'm going to add some extra goodies in there so that she knows that it is a pocket. And after that, I am finished with the journal, and I'm going to move on to the pocket that I'm going to create. So this will be a loaded pocket. So first of all, I'm taking these 2 sheets of paper from the kit and I'm going to fold it. So I eyeball this. So I folded it straight with that little white piece still left open. And I'm going to, you can do it without a scoring board, but I in the end used my scoring board. I'm going to fold it in about 1 inch on both sides, but you can do this without your scoring board. You can measure it. And that will be the base of my pocket. So I'm also going to create this into a very simple accordion pocket because I needed the extra space for the things that I wanted to put in. And I'm also going to do that in a very, very easy way. But first of all, I'm going to cut off the excess. And you saw me making a mark with my pencil on where my gluing flaps will be. So you do not need these extra pieces. I'm going to cut that off on the scoring line. Now I'm going to take my washi rule to create this corner. I do not have a corner rounder, so I use my washi tape as a template. And I'm going to use the cutoff piece on the other side to make sure that it will look quite similar to each other. And now I'm going to work on the rest of this pocket. So of course this pocket also needs some distressing. So I distressed everything in this pocket, and then I am going to create the accordion, but I totally forgot to line the inside of the pocket. So I'm going to snip off a triangle at the middle scoring line or the middle folding line to prevent the bulk. And now I'm going to fold it in. And because I only put tape on the inside of the flaps, it creates a little accordion. But then I realized now it's very, very white. So I grabbed that other piece of paper that I already prepped, but I totally forgot to line my pocket with it. And I'm going to grab some glue to line my pocket. So that's no problem at all. Just take it apart again. And I'm going to use the pocket as a template. So once I glued this down, I made sure that everything will stick. I'm going to cut around this piece of paper, and now you can also see how the pocket is while opened up. So I'm going to cut out these triangles, and I'm going to cut around the flap to make sure that this pocket also looks pretty on the inside. So I also have these silly things that I forget to do certain steps because I'm too excited about what I'm doing. I'm also going to use some extra distress oxide, of course, to make sure that you do not see any of the white edges. And now I can easily refold everything. And I'm going to make sure that all the white edges are either cut off or are covered up with some distress oxide. So if you have any questions about this pocket, feel free to leave them down below in the comments section. And are you a person who likes to gift junk journals to other people? I very much enjoy creating journals for others. So I would love to know if you are someone who will create journals for someone else. Let me know in the comments down below. So here I am going to finish up this pocket, and now this will be a beautiful accordion pocket to put in some goodies. But I'm also going to create an extra piece to slip in some stuff. I'm going to use one of the embellishment cards that come with the kit to create a tuck spot on this pocket to put in some extra goodies. And of course I'm going to distress this first, but I'm also going to only put glue on the bottom side of this card, so it will be this tuck spot for the things that I have planned to put in. So I'm going to put in some dictionary pages, some book pages in my language, which is Dutch, some wallpaper samples, some paint chips. I have more wallpaper samples. I have this piece of pattern, sewing pattern, I think my friend will like. I have these bigger pieces of paper that were part of making the journal, and I'm going to add them as well, but I will show you on the end of the video how I'm going to create that in this beautiful gift. I also have lots of different types of vintage papers here from your creative studio, and I think I added some of these as well for my recipient because I think that she will enjoy them. At least I hope she will. But it was fun to go through my vintage stuff or vintage looking stuff and find stuff for my friend to use. I really wanted to send her more, but I of course also have to keep in mind the postage weight. So next time I will send her some more vintage goodies I think she will like. But I think this will be a great gift. I also added in some labels that I'm going to put in the tuck spot, and of course I also send out some more of these pieces from the kit to her because I think she will enjoy them. And I really hope that she will enjoy this kit because it made me think of her. So I will hopefully hear soon about that. Also added some extra pieces, and now I am going to create an envelope from tracing paper. So I'm going to use my We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch board. I'm going to create a 4x6 envelope with tracing paper because you can use this as well again in the journal, but I also think it looks really cool. You have these beautiful glassine bags, of course, and I thought it would be fun to create this envelope. Maybe I should do a tutorial on creating glassine bags with tracing paper. I don't know, let me know if you would like to see that. I think it will be a lot of fun. I'm using my glue stick to glue the flaps down because the glue stick is pretty okay with this, but I put it a little bit over the sides. So I wanted to cover that up with washi tape, but I didn't like it. So I decided to use my Distress Oxide also on this tracing paper to cover up that I left a brown mark with my finger because my inky fingers of this Distress Oxide. So that is how I fixed this mistake. And I do think it works out pretty well because the whole envelope is, of course, or the whole journal is vintage and the pocket is vintage. And so I do think it works out pretty well. But it was not planned. So I went through my stash and I found some other pieces. So I sent some butterflies and some leaf stickers, some clear stickers. I have some stamp stickers and map stickers. I think my friend will like very much, and I hope that she will enjoy them. I do think so. I also have some vellum sheets and some washi stickers, which are some of my favorites at the moment, so I think that she will like them as well. I'm going to put that as well in the big pocket, and now my gift is almost complete. It's not complete unless I added some washi tape. So I picked out washi tapes that would fit the journal or fit the papers that I chose. And now I am going to bind this everything together in a package with this thread. And now I also added the big papers, of course, with this binding. So it is one big package, and I think it looks very cool and postal because, of course, I'm going to send this out with the mail. I don't know, it looks very cool. So that is my project, and that is what I'm going to give my friend. Now I will share with you a flip through of the journal for the ones that want to have a closer look on what I created and my mistakes. And then I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you like this video. I would love it if you'd give me a thumbs up. I would also love it if you'd consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Put the notification bell on all notifications so you don't miss any of my videos. You can also become a patron of mine. Link for that is down below in the description box. Don't forget to check out VectoriaDesigns and their beautiful, beautiful kits. They are linked down below in the description box. You can also find the free gift over there. And I hope to see you all next time. Bye!